Mr. Quignon is here if you want to entertain any question, and that is my request to you, Mr. Chairman and Commissioner.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, you're recognized, Mr. Vice Chair.
It seems to me that we have, number one, I imagine that everybody has read the city attorney's memo that she says she cannot comment and will not comment upon the allegations of this complaint, nor can she represent the city to give us any kind of advice. Having said that, I think it's incumbent upon this body to appoint one of us, and I'd like to volunteer for that simply because this is sort of what I do for a living, in a manner of speaking, to go out and find out exactly who we need to represent us and how we need to be represented. And what I mean by that is we may want to hire someone to give us some corporate governance advice. We may need to hire somebody to determine if, based on paragraph 23, there is vicarious liability on behalf of the city, or if there is collateral estoppel effect to the city of Miami. And I'd also like the ability to meet with the mayor's attorney, not to get into substance, Mr. Mayor, but simply to negotiate a fee that we can bring back to this commission, as we have pretty much historically done in the past, as the city attorney has fulfilled that role. You know, I think lawyers have a name for these kind of suits called a sportive suit, meaning you'll probably never see a suit like this again. I think we're on virgin ground, so to speak. I don't think this has ever happened before. I certainly hope it never happens in the future. But this is something that we've never gone through before. And I think we need governance advice, and we need advice as to the implications of paragraph 23, or the implications of the mayor of the city of Miami being sued, and the basis of what they call the addendum clause, which is the prayer for relief, which calls for all other relief that the court deems appropriate and proper, because that's a very large basis upon which to proceed. I don't profess to know the answers. I profess to be in the vein of understanding the answers, and I think I'm well suited to do this. I don't think the mayor has been served. Am I right, Mr. Mayor?
No.
So time is okay, but you're in federal court, and you're in front of Judge Hoovler. Things will move very, very quickly in comparison to state, meaning 90% of what we do is pretty much state court. When we get to federal court, it'll feel like you're on a roller coaster. It will happen very, very quickly. Candidly, you probably have the best judge, I think, in the history of the city of Miami, the best judge in the history of South Florida, in Judge Hoovler, who is an extremely, he's just been there forever. He's done it right the day he got there, and he's doing it right in I guess they would say, his final years. So we're sort of lucky that we have a very well-reasoned jurist up there. So I'm going to make a motion to appoint me to be the lead man on behalf of the city. Okay. Thank you.
There's a motion and a second. I tend to agree with the vice chair and also with the mayor, in the sense that, well, I appreciate the mayor not asking us for a vote today on this specific issue. We had spoken about it in the briefing. I've obviously, and you know, we all know this, I've expressed consternation every time we've had an issue like this, in terms of the cost and the policy decisions involved, and whether we're required to pay it preemptively, retroactively, or whatever. So I think we absolutely do need legal advice on those issues, as well as the issues that you articulated. And so I think that makes all the sense in the world.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I want to just make sure there's some clarity. Does this mean that this commission will approve an attorney prior to the next meeting? And I don't see how we could. And therefore, next meeting, we will not take a vote on our discussion item.
I don't know.
I want to know what's the process, what's from, you know, let's say we do, you know, show good faith and let you spearhead the legal aspect of it. I still will want to be able to discuss with an attorney, and I want to know the process of what we can and cannot do, or what they suggest that we can and cannot do.
We have to move expeditiously. and maybe the chair calls for an executive session. It's my intention to be authorized on behalf of this commission to interview and to speak with other attorneys on two major issues. One is the allegations of 23 and the prayer for relief together with corporate governance.
To then bring back to this commission
A recommendation.
that recommendation.
A recommendation, but I wish this was like we're going out to buy a car and we know exactly the car we want to buy. You know, would I like to bring you back 3 names? I would. Would I like to bring you back my recommendation? I would. But I have done none of this so far. And I want to, because we're in uncharted waters, I want to get the right person for this job. Because there are some very big implications here that we simply need advice on. We can choose to take that advice. We could choose to disregard that advice. But I think we need advice. Corporate governance means how do we go about, in the furtherance of the citizens' interest, how does the mayor, how does Commissioner Spence Jones go about in the furtherance of both of their constituents, and how do we as a body go forth when we budget and appropriate? What are the implications of that? And all you know, in the words that maybe Commissioner Suarez will get a kick out of this, I know enough that the issues are there. I don't know enough what the answers to those issues are.
Yeah, and I know that in every instance where we have had a situation similar to this, obviously we haven't had anything quite like this, but in situations where we had similar situations, I know in every instance I've sought legal advice from our city attorney who, you know, in those instances was not conflicted and in making those decisions, and there were a lot of issues involved, and I required a lot of information before making those decisions, and that's why I thank the mayor for not requiring us to make a decision today in the briefing that I had with him yesterday.
I think we get first of everything. I mean, this commission is going to make history, but I feel very uncomfortable to make any decision without a legal opinion from our legal department, and I think the cautious thing to do is to move this motion, approve it, for you to do your research, where you're working, and we need to get advice for a professional attorney. And I don't want to make any motions. I mean, I don't want to make any decision without legal opinion. Okay?
Right, Commissioner, but I just want to verify. Does that mean, and that's where I want clarity, does that mean that we're authorizing Commissioner Sarnoff to choose the attorney for the commission?
No.
Or is he going to recommend X number of firms or attorneys back to this commission, and then we could either interview them or speak with them, and then this commission makes the final determination?
My understanding
clarify.
is the buck stops here.
Right, and that's what I'm suggesting, but I am suggesting to you there isn't as much time as you might think. You know, we wait till January 15th? Yes. Could we wait till January 30th? I'm not sure.
I agree with that.